All right, there you go. That was your encore. Let's do this.
Please wake up.
Repeat vibes reminds you of me. What? Why is that? Excuse me, Gov.
This is my bed.
Holy
There are
fuck,
many
you're
beds
so
like
loud.
this, but this one is mine.
I take that as a compliment, Gov. Why are you so loud compared to the guy before?
If I had a label maker, I would label this Amber Stuff, and I would keep my
Amber?
label maker there.
That's the guy's. That's the kid's sibling from the menu. My God. I didn't even see you were sitting there. Jesus Christ, Giraffe.
It's filled with mysterious and magical things from the far corners of the Orient. Also toys and stuff. Yes, yes, drawers. What will they think of next? It's all about the birds and the bees, and how the birds like to eat the bees and other insects.
What? I don't know why. Yes, you're so loud compared to the kid and the bear, right?
My collection of paintings. Mom said I could have any painting
Monk,
in the
not the
house for my
painting.
room.
Lightning
It was
strike.
a rigorous selection process. It's a broken clock. Totally useless without the small hand. It's just a window. Don't let this crippling amnesia get to you. You can do this.
Okay, thank you. Wasn't pillows?
Nothing interesting about them. Well, one of them has a PhD in clinical virology, so I guess that's something.
This guy just said, feels like we're back in the Killzone days. Oh, that's a great comment right there. That's a good comment. In that. That's an amazing comment. Ah, good old Killzone, man. The day we all went deaf.
They belong to my mom. She must have forgotten them in here when she was cleaning. I don't really need glasses, but maybe they'll come in handy. Better take them with me just in case.
What? You just... Oh my god, yeah, $100. That's bad, man. That's a lot of money. Time to... Well,
Just my stuff. I still haven't unpacked properly.
time to buy a Japanese copy of the new My Friend Peppa Pig.
It says Gaga on it. Or is it Goo Goo?
Doesn't work.
Folium cadent. When was the last time I watered this? Oh, that's right, I didn't. It's really hanging in there. Ugh.
Did it just die? Stop! I know items are on sale. You don't... It says items are on sale, but all we could find was DLCs. Excuse me.
Millie, my toy giraffe. I've had her since I was 5 years old.
That's your
She seems frightened. I should talk to her.
that's your toy giraffe? This is a toy? I thought this was a human. What? Oh, maybe that might actually fix it. 5 head? Change the count country?
It seems you had a nightmare.
What was this fire?
There was this fire and black smoke was coming from the windows. Funny thing is, it didn't feel scary to me, like I wasn't really there.
Was it Paper City?
No, I don't think so. What are you doing here, Millie? Are you alright?
Oh no, miss. Something terrible is happening down in Paper City. I came here as soon as I could. I wanted to warn you and your brother not to go there, but when we arrived, I could only find you.
What do you mean?
Miss, I'm afraid your brother is missing.
I have to go find Flint.
It is a guy.
Millie,
You see, that's his name,
stay here
Flint.
and
That was his
rest.
name,
I'll
Flint.
come and check up on you later.
The
Please, before
guy
you
from the main
go
game.
around looking for your brother, miss, go and find Mr. Bear and ask him to come along. He's retired now, but he was always so fond of you. I'm sure he'll help you out. He may not be an easygoing man, but he has a kind heart.
Ted? I know where he is. He has a small office in my closet, but Ted and I, we can't work together anymore. Mostly because I'm still smart and driven and he's become a burnout.
I haven't seen him since he left the city. But whatever falling out you two had, I beg you to
His
reconcile.
office is in your closet. Okay, Millie, I'll go ask him.
Okay, Millie, I'll go ask him. But I'm not sure if he'll even hear me out. We left off on a really bad note.
It's a shame you two aren't working together anymore. You were always such good friends. But for your sake, miss, please don't go wandering around alone. There is something else I haven't told you about. The reason I came all the way down here. There is this man that came down to Paper City a week ago. He's asking a lot of questions about you.
What man?
We call him the Red Man. There
Red
were a lot
Man.
of fires down in the city this past week. Ever since he showed up, the officials are burying their heads in the sand, while this man has an entire
You know as
city,
much as I know.
Your city, miss, cowering in fear.
Well, Paper City Police Department isn't known for its heroic head-on approach to crime fighting.
The mayor and the commissioner have issued a citywide lockdown until all of this is sorted out. A lot of people are escaping the city. We managed to escape through the East Tunnel's maintenance route, but most of the exits are closed off now.
You said we escaped. Is someone else here with you?
The Mugshot boys helped me through the East Tunnel, bless their hearts. We arrived at Flint's room, but he wasn't there, so I came here to wake you up.
I have to go now, Millie. I'll be back as soon as I can to come check on you. Do you need anything?
I'm fine, little miss. I just need to rest is all. Please, before you go out, find Mr. Bear and ask him to come along.
Wait, you know as much as me, because she said this was a toy, but she's clearly talking and she's like moving around. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know why his office is in a closet. Maybe these two kids just have a wild imagination. Yeah, this is how they see things. This is how they see the world.
It's filled with mysterious and magical things.
Wait, so that's a funny comment. There's a bit of a shit lockdown if people can't escape.
So fluffy and comfortable.
I guess they didn't really care too much.
It's my bed. It comes.
My bad? Mr. Bear. My bad.
Amber Ashworth, if I had a nickel for every time this broad got me into trouble, I'd be neck deep in nickels right now. Something was different this time. I could feel it in the air. Someone really put the scares on her. Despite her fragile appearance, Amber's a tough kid, so it was unusual to see her like this. She starts talking, and I start pretending I don't care. I told her I'm retired, For good this time. Fell on deaf ears again. Anyway, she starts talking about Millie, Paper City, her brother, and all that jazz, and I'm wondering how many times we've gone through this before. You see, we have this routine where she asks me for help, as she always does, and I play hard to get, as I always do. Eventually, I give in. We've done this so many times I've lost count. She knows the drill, and so do I. Might as well just hear her out. Her words ring through my office. They get stuck in this haze around my head, and then they get lost in the cold autumn rain outside, tapping on my window in this hypnotic manner. It's calming in a way, or is it the booze that makes me calm? Not much to do when you're retired, and hobbies were never my cup of tea. I know her standing in my doorway with her lady in distress shtick means bad news for me, and yet I know I'm in for it again. The sun is slowly setting and the rain gets heavy. The news said there will be a storm tonight.
Hi, Ted. I heard you've retired, but
Back to
Cut the
shouting.
ceremony, doll. I ain't doing it.
doing what?
Whatever little plan you've schemed up this time to ruin my life. You're bad news, doll. Always were. Do me a solid this time and leave me out of it. I'm busy.
He's also retired in the main game.
I only asked because Millie insisted you come along.
Millie, are we investigating old wives' tales now? It's getting late, doll. Shouldn't you be in bed?
You're making too much noise. Yeah, man, you're making too much noise in the closet.
I can't sleep with all this noise coming from my closet.
What the hell are you talking about? I was just sorting out my old case files.
Well, yeah, but you were flipping the pages really loudly, and
Yeah, nice try, doll. If you don't mind, I still have a lot of loud page flipping to do.
Oh my god, you're still mad at me? After all this time? I really need your help, and I kind of promised Millie I would ask you to come along.
Mad?
Yeah, this is a pretty
Why
big
would I
closet.
be mad? I was almost thrown into a wood chipper thanks to you. I was lucky. One of the guys we investigated is in my birdwatching, poker and cigar club. And where were you?
He's in a bird
You
watching
ran
club.
off.
I was following a lead, somewhere else.
Yeah? What'd you found out?
Not much.
Not a goddamn thing. Listen, doll, I've got a nice little setup here. Lately, I've been doing some tailing work for jealous husbands down in the city. Bunch of nervous train wrecks, but the money is good. I grew tired of pulling bloated toys out of Dredge River. Our days of crime fighting are over. That whole thing, it's behind us. It belongs in the past. Capiche?
You've been practicing this speech, haven't you?
A little bit. How was it?
It was okay. The part about the bodies was a bit much.
I threw that in for dramatic effect. It wasn't in the original draft, though.
No, it was good. It gets the point across.
Does it really? You're still here, and I still have a lot of work to do.
You owe me rent. Yes. Where's that closet rent money at?
How about I just keep pretending your office isn't in my closet and you actually owe me rent?
That was kind of a cheap shot, doll. But I guess nothing ever comes for free. What's this nonsense all about, anyways?
So, according to Millie, a lot of things are happening down in Paper City lately.
What things?
Like all sorts of bad things. And there's this guy that's responsible.
According to Millie.
The mayor has issued a citywide lockdown. No one is allowed to leave or enter the city limits until all of this is sorted out. They've managed to escape through the East Tunnel maintenance route, but I think that's been closed off too.
They?
Got a lot of fucking options. Pay me rent, guys. Wine and cheese of the month club. bird watchers of the world. Something to do with bird watching. Is he gonna like that?
Yeah. Millie and the bird watchers of the world?
What? The BWOW is here? But they all went north last month. It's yellow cardinal season and an early start. I mean, what? I never heard of those guys before. What in the hell are you talking about? Are you making this up?
Yeah, sorry. The mugshot boys helped her out. I know how much you don't like them.
I mean, what's not to like? The fact that they're thieves and thugs? They literally stole a candy from a baby once.
But wasn't that baby an undercover cop?
Well, yeah, it was. But they didn't know that.
What?
Now, did
That
they?
baby wasn't
Anyways,
undercover.
they
cop.
helped her escape the city through the East Tunnel, the one that leads to Flint's room, and she said he wasn't there. She believes he's gone missing. I need to go and check on Flint. Maybe he's still in the house, but Millie doesn't want me to go alone. She says it's possible for the Red Man to have found an exit to my house. She's really scared.
Wait, what red man?
She was telling me about this man, dressed completely in red. He came down to Paper City recently and was asking questions about me.
He's asking questions about you? What's so interesting about you?
Oh, wrecked.
Hey, I'll have you know there are a lot of people out there who find me interesting. Millie is really scared of this man. I can't leave anything to chance. Will you help me out?
Whoa there, Sugar Cup. Even if I come along, and I'm still thinking that one over. I'm afraid a crucial component that'll help in our future investigation is missing.
Your left shoe, your nose, your hat, my brother. No, we do live inside. I think. I don't know. I think we're in our house though. I think maybe we do live outside. Because yeah, the giraffe lady said something about that she escaped and everything, and then yeah. Oh yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah, we live outside of the lockdown, but then Flint I think is still he's missing inside of the lockdown place. Like that. Your hat?
Your hat?
No, I'm phasing that one out.
Your magnifier?
That's right, Dollface. Now be a good assistant and go find it for me.
I'm sorry, your assistant?
You know what I mean. Now get cracking.
Ted's office. No, turn it on again. He didn't even comment on that.
It makes this place look like a proper office. I love the yarn work especially.
Found my magnifier yet?
Nope, not yet. Do you really need it though?
Look with the
Do you really
magnifier.
need my help?
With my
Okay, fair
magnifying
enough.
glass.
I bet this glue will be useful. Better take it with
what
me.
the fuck? I just stole the glue from him.
That's what the phones looked like back in the days. I mean, now. It serves as a support for his heavy head when he passes out. It says FBI on it. I bet it stands for Federal Bear Investigation.
Federal Band.
Here we see a lamp in its natural habitat. It's leaning forward, ready to leap with remarkable precision. A truly fascinating predator of the wild office?
Thanks, miss. The FBI joke. Hey, that was actually really good, yeah.
Pretty funny.
What? Oh my god. The federal bears are here.
Nope. 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 It's my field hockey mask. My friend Jason wants to borrow it. As far as I'm concerned, he can have it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Give you an ice hockey mask to a guy named Jason? What's the worst that could happen?
I really feel like I don't own enough shoes. And no, it's not a stereotype. It's just a fact.
Pick it again.
No, 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 no. Well, since this office is in my closet, that window there is for purely decorative purposes. Where's the light coming from, though?
Question.
The light is off. I bet someone wasn't paying his electric bills.
Ballerina shoes.
What? Those must be Ted's. I got this for Flint, with my own money. It's some guardian superhero dude. Very bleak and depressing story arc.
Sounds about right.
These are my clothes. The colors are more on the bright side, but I can't help it. I love vivid colors.
And click on the lamp? I don't know.
It's just Ted. He looks mad. If looks could kill, am I right?
Looks could kill. When she says nope. Cat jam, cat jam.
No, 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 no. Left there for research purposes.
This look can kill. The stare of a thousand peppers.
Miss, don't go wandering around alone.
No, it's in here somewhere. Glass. Blue. I have a knife? Swish Army knife.
A cardboard box. I think this one is full of my rare bottle caps. It's pointless dedication from a bygone era, I know.
The giraffe doesn't want us to leave. I have a knife?
Oh, that's right. I remember playing with this a couple of days ago. It fell on the floor and the lens broke. I'll take the magnifier with me, but I better repair it before I return it to Ted. There we go. Now I just need a lens.
From the glasses?
Come on.
I don't know. Oh my god, that lightning strike. Where would we get a lens from? Nothing fixes that easy. She just put glue around the inside of the ring. Around the inside of the magnifying. There's not even glass there.
It's not working, but that's okay.
That would fall apart so quickly in her pocket. Well, first of all, it'd be glued to the inside of her pocket. Because it's just an empty magnifying glass with no glass and just glue on the inside. Oh, no, I didn't mean to leave. I wanted her to move over. I couldn't see what was on the left because of her big head.
A miracle of modern technology. Just my stuff. I still haven't unpacked properly.
Hey, I don't know why she's shouting unlike her brother.
I'll just pick this up. You never know when it might come in handy. I don't think so.
Yes, of course. What I wanted to do. Use the battery on the window, as you do.
Yes,
Is that the only one I can open?
yes.
Yes. Oh, that's your answer. It's the only one I can open.
I've read all of these. Some of my favorites are Necronomicon, Dyslexia, and Cal to Fright It. Last Encounter, a
Necronomicon?
trip through the
Excuse me?
wormhole.
I have dyslexia? Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Can you move over here? No. No. Do you just have like a tiny piece of glass?
Nope. Nope. Well, since this office is in my closet, where's the It's full of Ted's past cases.
Smash the bottle. You know, that is actually what I was thinking. I thought it had something to do with the bottle or
The
something.
light is off. I bet some.
But you can't pick the bottle up, you can only look at it. Red man is asking questions about me.
You said that this red man is asking questions about me.
Why does the
Why?
audio become so
I'm
strange
not
here?
sure, but you might be in danger, miss. This man's done nothing but horrible things since he showed up in Paper City. In only 1 week, he's got everyone, including the police department, hiding and running in fear.
Tell us everything about this man.
Can you tell me something more about this man?
I'm afraid I don't know much, Miss Amber. Only stories here and there, plus what the paper has been covering. So far, I know he's been asking around about you, and that he's responsible for all the terrible things happening in the city lately.
Emily. Never told anyone you can't spell well.
An extensive collection of colored pencils I acquired over the years.
Last night's supper?
Cornflakes. They've gotten cold and mushy and gross.
I had cornflakes for dinner. I mean, that works.
An empty glass. Its empty frame now glistening in the silver moonlight. The dried up milk on its edges now serves only as a reminder of the once full and meaningful life it had. You're still not without purpose, glass. Don't you dare take that big leap. Think of Sheila and the kids.
Can't I turn that? Why can't I use that?
Are you even trying?
I am. What else can I? What else is made out of glass here? That was a battery.
I can't use that.
Hold on. Do you have to do this?
I broke my mom's
there
glasses.
you go.
I better find use for this lens now.
Now we got the glass. Hey, but yeah, that makes sense.
Voila! A perfect crime Ted will never know.
You literally did it right in front of him.
That's not my magnifier.
What do you mean? It's a magnifier. It magnifies and everything?
No, this is my magnifier. with the lens missing, which I'm sure you broke recently.
Oop.
You've replaced the lens with your mom's glasses and glued them together with kids' glue.
Damn, he's
That's
good.
preposterous. Never have I ever.
Okay, never mind. This will do, I guess. Let's head out.
Master detective. Why did he move towards the camera?
Oh, so nice to see you two working together again. True friendship is never.
Okay, forget it. I'm going back to the office.
Mr. Bear,
Cut her off.
I know
Nice.
you wouldn't let little Miss wander around alone. Now, would you?
Why? Is your exaggeration after her?
Listen here, Mr. Bear. Little Miss needs your help. Her brother is missing. Now you clean yourself up, get your head straight, and help her out. Or else.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Bear.
Sure, gang up on me. Anyways, we should get going. I don't have all night.
Go, Mr. Bear.
Let's head out. Watch my back, Ted. The use of the color green is
That's
what
right,
makes this
Mr.
painting
Bear.
stand out. It's just so vivid and beautiful. You can almost taste it.
Taste it. Yummy. Yummy
It's a
painting.
fishing village, somewhere on the coast of Norway, probably.
I'm so glad I got
Oh,
dragged out
boy.
in the middle of the night to look at the paintings hanging in your house. What else am I going to do, right?
Taste it, people fuck.
It should be called Forget Me a Lot. 'Cause I never remember to water it. Get it?
But
Oh my god. See, that's why this game's amazing.
It's so dark in here, Ted. I can't see anything.
Bombing jokers.
we'll have to find a flashlight or something.
That actually is pretty funny.
Sandwich? What?
It's a ham, bacon, lettuce, and mozzarella cheese sandwich on pimento bread. It's mounted on my wall and it shines. So it's like a sandwich that's also kind of a lamp.
What?
A lamp. Nothing else to it. It shines. I can see where I'm going. But if I can see where I'm going, that means I'll hardly ever get lost. So this lamp is like a beacon, reminding me that wherever I am, I can just look around and I'll find my way back home. The accentuated, almost reckless brushstrokes could be an indication of the artist's lack of formal education. Rather than paint with methodical, almost sterile precision, he instead attempts to convey his inner turmoil through his paintings, making his work better appreciated through sheer emotion.
What the hell are you talking about?
You're just such a caveman.
We came here for
Abandoned,
painting lessons.
generic asset placed to occupy empty space. Let's pretend there's something inside, like.
A golden retriever puppy just for you, doll.
Oh my God! Is it really? I can't. I want to. Can we take him out? I'm gonna call him Cookie and walk him every day and.
Yeah, no, it was a joke. No one would put a live dog in a sealed box with no air holes. Dum-dum.
You're just so mean. It's locked.
Break it with the knife.
Are you?
Wait, can I break open the box?
Are you even?
I mean, that would make sense.
A box filled with all sorts of stuff. Really, just all the imaginable, useful things I need right now to solve this mystery. Packed inside a single cardboard box and left in the middle of the hallway.
It's just clothes, doll.
I know.
I know. The Gov was a bookworm. That's true.
Wait, it's locked. But why?
This is mighty suspicious, doll. Wasn't there a hole in the study wall? You know, that one that you used to crawl through when you were younger.
You're right, Snoop. Maybe I can still fit through. It's worth checking out.
The Gov is still a bookworm. He's still sucked into the books. Nothing wrong with a good book every now and then.
Hey there, Rust. It's been a while.
Sure has, Snoop. Still walking the beat?
Not lately. I finally took some time out to
It's
sort things
definitely
out.
audio.
He's pretending he's
Yeah,
retired.
she's so loud.
Takes a lot out of him, apparently.
Well, you couldn't have picked a worse time to retire, Snoop. Things are getting close to boiling point down in the city.
What's going on, Rust?
Wish I could tell you, Bear. I'm as clueless as the rest of them. One thing I know is that I was working at the steel mill one day. The damn place got blown up.
The Yellow King. Are you Shut up. Have you heard the city's in lockdown? You know anything about the Red Man?
We've heard rumors about some red man. Know anything about that?
I sure do. He's the damn reason all this is happening, Bear. So this Red shows up down in PC. This was a week ago. He goes after the thugs first. Gathers information and such. No one thought nothing of it. Couple of beaten up lowlifes here and there. It's a common trade with these guys, you know? Then, the fire started. I hear a couple of guys down from the coal district gathered a posse, trying to corner this bird. No one heard from him since. And those guys are miners, Bear. They're as tough as nails.
Who is?
Those guys, Ted.
What kind of information is he after?
Well, here's the funny part, Snoop. I heard he was asking a lot of questions about our beloved Miss here. That's why I'm here. After Doris and the kids left the city, I figured I'd come here and make sure Amber stays safe. Now, don't you be dragging her on one of your ill-advised adventures, Bear.
Are you kidding me? Anyways,
Laughing
why would this guy
stock.
be going around asking about her? You know anything about this, doll? Anyone whose life you're messing with? Besides mine, I mean. Angry boyfriend, perhaps?
Don't get smart. I never heard of this red guy until tonight.
Holy lightning
Besides, you're
strike.
the only man in my life, Bear.
Who's getting smart now? So, what kind of information is this guy after, Rust?
Haven't I told you about this already? He's asking about our little Miss here. Is he alright?
He's getting
He's
old.
fine. He's just sleepy and grumpy and, like, totally not drunk.
Nah, I'm fine. I'm just sleepy and grumpy because she dragged me out in the middle of the night on some wild goose chase.
Nice to see you two are getting along after all these years.
Another expo. God damn. You're collecting copies of Caught Vanguard. I guess Pokemon cards. We've heard the city's in lockdown.
We've heard the city is in lockdown.
Sure is. It's been like that since the mill exploded. The official statement is that there was a gas leak down at the basement level, but we all know better.
How'd you escape?
How'd you escape?
I used the east tunnel maintenance shaft, but the thing was getting close to collapsing. I think they closed it off completely after I got through.
Think someone tried to cover this up?
So you think it wasn't an accident? You think someone is trying to cover something up?
I wouldn't go that far, miss. My suspicion is that the officials don't want to make a big deal out of it. Keep the folks at ease.
What about the mill owner, that Dietz fellow? He made any enemies lately? Filed any big insurance claim or something?
Nah, Bear. Mr. Dietz is a straight-up bird. Besides, his son was down at the mill when it happened. Kid got a little earbuzz is all.
Would have been funny if there was another one from the game. No one leaves or enters the city at this point.
So no one leaves or enters the city at this point?
That's what the lockdown implies, Bear. Folks are still escaping, though. I hear some of them got here through the tunnels. Them mugshot boys were the first to flee, and poor old Millie. I hear she got here safe.
Millie's in my room. She's resting.
Bless your kind heart, little miss. I'll stay
Holy
here.
shit!
Keep an eye out.
Can you do it, Rust? You seem kind of tired.
I ain't no buster.
Holy shit!
Some buster tries to pull a fast one on me, I'll give him a little chin music before I drop a dime on him to the elbow.
Standing in the hallway with them.
What?
He's saying he can do it.
Okay, I got it. We've seen Flint Rusty.
Have you seen Flint, Rusty? Millie told me he might be missing.
I'm sorry.
He's
kid.
so
I'm afraid
big
I haven't seen your
red.
brother. but I'm sure he's fine.
Red man's
Flynn's a
hiding
tough
behind the
kid.
couch back
Besides,
there.
no one has left or entered this room since I got here.
You know anything about the Yellow King?
You know anything about the Yellow King?
Not really. I guess they left the thing wide open, like open to interpretation. I personally didn't think much of it.
Goodbye.
Well, we better get cracking. Catch you later, Rust.
Sure thing, Snoop.
Thank you, Rusty. Bye.
Bye, little miss. Don't worry about your brother. I'm sure he's all right.
Rust.
Rust. But you now have 3 identical copies. Jesus Christ, man. 3 identical copies of fucking God Being gun.
It's all dried up, serving as a reminder of life's fleeting nature. For when you get tired of walking up and down this hallway.
Oversized plant.
It's a tree, like the ones outside, only this one is inside. It's creepy. I don't like it. Oh my, those curtains are wide open. The reflection from the glass is unflattering. I prefer to leave some of the view to the imagination, thank you very much.
What's that behind me? Hopefully the spirit.
It's I don't know. You kind of lose your imagination after the 10,000th useless item. It's a lamp.
Ah, it's a tree. Save point.
A save point. Nah, just kidding. What is this, Resident Evil? We have autosave, you dingus.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't need any ink ribbons or anything. Oh, man.
My old trusty lamp. I never walk around this hallway without her.
Look behind you.
Painting.
I said, look behind
I see
you.
3 anthropomorphic mailboxes dancing to the captivating beats of the J. Summers Jazz Quartet.
There's a ghost behind me. Ghost face. I don't know. Oh, that was really loud, that sound effect. I guess it changed. The volume changed the tone. You walked into the wall for a second.
It's locked. I mean, of course it is.
He just really wants you to look behind you. Look behind you. Here's bleeding bags, mate. You're welcome, Gov. No problem, Governor.
It's a small house in the country. It looks so peaceful there. I wish I had more time to appreciate every piece of art I come across. It's a small boat in the middle of a storm. I hope they made it out.
You know how they say, doll. It's not the size of the boat, but the motion in the ocean.
What does that even mean?
I think it means that it doesn't really matter how big the ship is. It will probably sink if the storm is strong enough.
Such a tragedy.
Why'd you cut off tragedy? Something.
It looks expensive. It's a decorative plaque of some sort, or an award for wood chopping? I don't really know. My grandpa's books. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but these look so boring.
This is not a bingo cover, you know exactly. That's the ultimate strat to get you to do the thing.
Please, whoever finds this log, I'm one of the developers, bear with me.
What?
I didn't want to do it. They've made me. Please send some. Oh no, I can hear him coming.
Oh, whoa! What? Huh? He's being dragged away now.
Wow, that's just disturbing.
Yep.
They just killed the dev. What did I click on? Oh, it was the lamp, I think.
I just love these old paintings. If I fail in my quest to become a world-renowned novelist and Pulitzer Prize winner, maybe I'll become a painter.
Sure. Are they letting just anyone be a painter these days?
Hey, I'm only 10 years old. The world is my oyster.
Rip that dev, man.
It looks pretty. The sand, I bet, came from somewhere far away.
That dim-witted boy sells these down at the local market. So the sand probably came from...
Nope, somewhere far away. Maybe some desert.
Sure, the desert.
How did he still manage to send the wrong one? What the hell? Stella must have been half asleep.
A book titled It's a Wonderful Lie, The Judicial System and How to Exploit It for Profit. So many stupid
What?
words. I hate boring books.
13. Yeah, that's it for 13 too. She's pretty. She's just pretty intelligent. For a 10-year-old.
Hey, a flashlight. But there are no batteries inside.
There's bound to be some in the house.
We can ask Rusty if he'll give us one of his. I'll take the flashlight with me. So many places to visit. If I had a lot of money, I would spin this and travel to where my finger lands. Hopefully not in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Can we try?
Let's take this bad boy for a spin.
That's such a slow spin.
Let's take this bad boy
Oh,
for
she's
a
doubling up,
spin.
pointing the finger at it. We're just spitting. Quadruple check if it's the correct option. Yeah, you don't want to end up with a false copy at this point.
Ew, cigars are gross. Of all the places in the world, the flavor
The
country seems
controller's
least
dying.
appealing to me.
Signature Leo stream. Leo looks 10, I do. I do indeed.
Lex iniusta non est lex? Funny made up words. Although they have a certain righteous ring to them. Highly breakable. Believe me, I know. Nothing interesting about it.
Damn right. Sounds about
Just
right, gal.
shining away. I have a similar one in my room.
You have the same lamp in your room. It's just asset reuse. Those lazy artists.
Acid reuse. They don't call out the dev, man. He just got gunned. We just heard him get shot. We call him out like that.
It's growing from the sand.
Aren't you perceptive, doll? You should have been a detective.
And you should have been a 10-year-old girl, because you throw like one.
Oh, wrecked.
This chair is so comfortable, but we don't have time to sit around. Well, Ted will probably need to at some point. He's getting old.
Huh? I wasn't listening. You just ramble on and on sometimes.
You didn't hear me 'cause you're old.
Hold out, Mr. Bear.
This hole leads to Flint's room. It's covered in cobwebs, though. That's so gross.
20
Go in, Ted,
looking
and check it
40.
out. I'll wait for you here.
I'm sorry, doll. As much as crawling through spider-infested holes sounds
Yes, you
appealing,
are, old man.
I have to pass. See, spiders tend to nest in my fur, and then I have to take a bath and go through this whole fumigation process. It's a mess.
Let's go to the bathroom then. Do episode 2 as well, alright. Well, we'll see how long this is and how late it is. What?
What the hell? What was that?
Where
I
is
don't
he?
know, Ted. Lights? Tricks?
Yeah, I guess. I'm getting too old for this.
Thing. This thing.
Yeah, sounds right.
Not really.
Where is he? Where is he go?
Rust, we need a big favor.
What's this about, Bear?
Rusty, we need a battery for our flashlight. We thought you could help us out.
Sure, I got batteries, but here's the problem, miss. If I give you a battery, I gotta shut down for the rest of the night, and I have to keep an eye out.
Take the edge off.
We could take some of that edge off, Rust. Why don't you rest your eyes for a bit and let me and the doll here take over?
You? No offense, Bear. I respect you as much as anyone in Paper City, but this here is different. I don't think you could handle this red guy on your own. You should take care of Miss and Millie and leave the patrol to me.
Are you saying I'm not qualified for watch duty? We have to wrap this thing up fast. There's a bottle of carrot juice in my desk that's longing for my return. We can keep an eye out for anyone suspicious in the meantime. Besides, you know I'm more than qualified. That nasty business from a couple of years ago, with them robots going missing. I was the one that brought that whole shady affair down, and you know it.
Are you trying to play me, Bear? I know you had nothing to do with that. That thing went so high up, there's no chance in hell Snoop like you even got close to wrapping it up.
You seem to have blown a fuse there, Rust. It was me who cracked that case, and I can prove it. I have the case file and the credentials, handed to me by the commissioner in my office somewhere.
Okay, settle down there, Bear. Let's make a deal. You show me the credentials, and I'll hand over the battery. It's not that I don't believe you. I just want to make sure you're not playing me is all.
Can't we just get one?
Can't you give us just one battery, Rusty? You'll still have a couple of them left, right?
Here's the thing, little miss. It's a closed circuit.
She knows. She's just playing on your soft side, Rust.
Okay, got it. He still uses coins. I sure
Ted
do.
and Amber, move away.
Oh my god, Ted, you're not supposed to read the brackets.
Ah,
A do-over?
Keep it rolling! We should get to my office, doll. There's a
what the
file
fuck?
at
You read
front.
the script.
What's this whole deal about anyways? Why can't he just give us a battery? We can keep an eye out.
Rust is having a hard time coping with what happened. He worked in that mill for over 20 years, and now suddenly he's got
Okay,
nothing
bro.
to do. Let's
What
just
the
do this to
fuck?
humor him.
Poor Rust.
We'll just
Okay,
edit it out
you're
later.
right. Let's find that file.
I
Yeah, this
think
game's
by the time
great.
this is over, we're going to meet a lot of people in his position.
I guess that from the second we booted it up, I could tell this is great. This is amazing. Ted and Amber move over. Well, you're supposed to read the script. Should we do a do-over? Ah, keep it rolling. Ah, whatever. Let's go. That's a great game, man. Yeah, that's true. I still use coin and cash. Everyone was so surprised by that at the anime con. Because everyone just defaulted to card. Like they got the card reader machine thing ready. Then they're just like, ah, no, I got cash instead. Look, see, I got a hardcore cash. No one ever expects that these days. No one ever expects anyone to use hard cold cash.
There should be an old file here somewhere. Nasty business from a couple of years ago. The robot union hired me to look into several cases of robot kidnappings.
I remember. That CEO of Illuminarium, Skinner, used robot parts to manufacture headlights at low prices.
Yep, I brought down that whole shady deal. Almost got shot in the process. Just finds me unqualified for lookout duty. Probably thinks I'm a burnout.
You're not a burnout, Ted. I mean, you were more driven before, but I understand you've had a lot on your mind lately. Anyways, I'm really glad you're with me on this one.
Sure thing, doll. What am I going to say no to you?
Thanks, Ted.
Don't mention it, partner.
Paying cash, you're definitely a drug dealer. Okay, around with a gun. Okay, now that'd be something you'd seen like a comedy or something. Okay, pulls out the drug from under his coat, and after that he pulls out his fucking card machine. Just like, hey, quick, swipe it, man, quick, before they show up. While he's just mod checking, looking paranoid around. Oh, good man, I've got the card machine. Pulls out card machine and puts in the number. Fucking looks around, all paranoid, like, quick man, swipe your card, quick. Punch in the numbers. Quick before they show up. But I don't know if you were here when they told that story like last year. During Christmas when I had to help my uncle with Christmas shopping. Like, he always pays in cash and everything. And it was just so funny. This one comic store we went to when he had to pay in cash. Where he wanted to pay in cash. The whole fucking system shut down because he wanted to pay in cash. the store's entire system shut down because you wanted to pay in cash. The store's what cash? Huh? What? Error. Shut down. Is his uncle Marchek? Maybe. He's starting to see familiarities. What is this cash you speak of? Right? Cash? Where? Not card? What card? Card? No card. Cash? What's cash? It explodes.
There. Is this it?
Yep, that's the one. Let's head back to that hothead robot.
There's like some form of fake money. What is this? Are you talking about Monopoly money? Is that what you're talking about? Nah, we don't accept Monopoly money here.
There you go, buddy. Signed and authorized by Commissioner Locke himself. Anyways, we really need that battery now, Rust. Time's a factor here.
So it was you. I'll be damned. That was a big deal for us robots, you know? I always held you in high regard, Bear. But you just earned my utmost admiration, let me tell you. You can have my battery. I can use a little shut-eye, to be honest. Keep an eye out, and keep little miss here safe. Oh, and check on Millie from time to time. Make sure she's alright.
Thanks, Rust. We won't let you down.
Thank you so much, Rusty. Get some sleep. We'll wake you up in the morning.
Yeah, he's a robot. You couldn't tell. He is, in fact, a robot. Flashbang. What do you mean fake cash? It's the OG money. This is the OG money you see back in my day. This is what we had to pay with all the time. Yeah, let's go to the bathroom. Now that we have a flashlight. Flashbang blinded you. It is pretty goddamn bright, isn't it?
It's so dark in here.
The light is busted.
What? I can't go in here even with the flashlight?
Are you even
Wait.
Hey, I got it working.
What? Wait, why did it only just work now, huh? Whatever. So now I can enter? Stop shouting, Amber. Here we go.
You should really know what this is by now, buddy.
It's where I take long showers and contemplate life. Also, I sing.
You should really know what this is by now, buddy. Fucking bathtub. Yeah, probably should, huh?
It's full of bathroom stuff.
Now she's really quiet.
Lots of creams and powders, also hair gel, a sponge thingy, some kind of paste,
Just
and
stop
so on.
shouting.
Intended to make you look presentable when applying for a low-income 9-to-5 position to grind away the days. I don't really know what all that means. I picked it up in a movie once. Nah, I'm pretty as it is. A waterfall. I feel like a lot of these are waterfall-based. Maybe in our world, a happy little bush lives there. Just
You won't shout again, right?
light and dark
Just wait till we
shades of
leave the
blue.
bathroom. Hope you have your ears prepared.
Cascading waterfalls.
Skating.
Submerged ruins
Yes,
of an
was-
ancient
yeah.
temple. A painting of something or another. It's too small to tell.
Yeah, this was really funny.
You should really know what this is by now, buddy.
It's where I take long showers and
You
contemplate
should really
life.
know what this is by now, buddy. You click on the bathtub. That's fucking funny, man. That's good.
A painting on the floor. Trying to get out of town, eh? You owe money to the art community. Listen here, man. I'll cut you a deal. I'll take on your debt and pay those money-grubbing watercolor pushers. Maybe I'll call you on your debt sometime. Maybe not. What do you say? Beats living on the run.
Speaking a normal pitch, isn't know what that is.
Classic TP found in most bathrooms. What's there left to say that hasn't been published in Science Weekly already? Am I right? Where's the money, Lebowski?
Nice reference.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? I'm not going through trash. It's just my work ethic. It's a trash can. Surprisingly, it's full of trash. Where's the money, Lebowski? 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 Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who will be a beautiful princess who's bound to live a long and happy life in a castle somewhere in France and have lots of ponies?
You are Amber? Like for totes.
I knew it.
Did that thing just
What?
talk?
I don't know. Did it? Where's the money, Lebowski? 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 It's full of uninteresting stuff. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? This duster may come in handy. I'll take it with me just in case.
Even the windows had enough of me. Try to fucking stop me. Where's the money, Lebowski?
but no
Where's the
crap.
money, Lebowski? Uncall.
Where's the money, Lebowski? 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 Where's the money, Lebowski?
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Pairs of towels just hanging out.
Hello, boss. The God Gamer has arrived. Where's the money, Schizo? We don't have Schizo. Shall we fix that? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where is this Schizo emote even from? What's the origin of it? From a movie, right? Yo! Yo, boss! This one more time, because it's funny.
You should really know what this is by now, buddy.
It's where I take long showers and contemplate life. Also,
I don't know why I find that so funny. Click on the bathtub, and he's just like, you should really know what this is by now, buddy. I fucking hope so. Fucking you stinky bastard. I hope you know what this is. I hope you know what a fucking bathtub is. Ugh. That's great, man. I mix this together with the nope.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Nope, nope, no, 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 nope, nope, nope. This is the money,
I don't know
Lebowski.
what these are for, but I'm not allowed to take them. They taste terrible anyways.
What's this bathtub you speak up? Mod check, what's a bathtub?
It's full of uninteresting stuff.
Oh, it's from Venom. That's where that's from. Ah, I see. I haven't seen that movie before.
Every time
yeah.
I look at it, I see a beautiful princess. She's bound to live a long and happy
Schizo.
life in a castle somewhere in France and have lots of ponies.
Hey, we already heard this dialogue. I think we got everything from here. Hold on one last time before we leave. Wait.
We should start with Flint's room, doll. We should
Get away from the...
Where's the money, Lebowski?
I'm out of here. First one? I'd say so. I think so. Have you seen
What's
him
happening?
yet?
What is this? Doll, you seeing this?
I don't know, Ted. What was that?
It's fine. It's nothing, probably. It's the middle of the night and the light is playing tricks on us. Let's go.
A trick of the light that there is red paint on the walls. Sure. It's because we never found out where the money was, Lebowski. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? You've seen the first one? You haven't seen the second one? That's surprising.
This hole leads to Flint's room. It's covered in cobwebs, though that's so gross. Go in, Ted, and check it out. I'll wait for you here.
I'm sorry, doll. As much as crawling through spider-infested holes sounds appealing to me, I have to pass. See, spiders tend to nest in my fur, and then I have to take a bath and go through this whole fumigation process. It's a mess.
Oh, that's why we got this. I see. I clean
There,
now.
I cleaned it up. Go crawl through.
Why don't you crawl through?
Obviously, I can't fit. Otherwise, I would totally do it.
Sure you would.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Hi,
The case
Lebowski?
was spinning out of control. So fast I had to hold onto my hat. Nothing made sense, and it was getting more twisted by the minute. We've come across an old buddy of mine who has suddenly found himself out of purpose and place. The steel mill, where Rust worked for years, got blown to bits. Hundreds of hard-working, honest people lost their jobs overnight. The police are writing it off as an accident. Coincidentally, there were a lot of accidents this past week. The whole damn city was burning up and no one was doing anything about it. Did I pick the wrong time to get out of that dump? According to Rust and Millie, one man is responsible for all this mayhem. In 1 week, he's become a synonym for fear throughout the city, and police and thugs alike are shuddering at the mention of his name. They call him the Red Man.
The Red Man.
I have a strong feeling in my gut. It's all somehow connected. My retirement, the fires, and the official cover-up. What happened to Flint, the Red Man. It's all leading to her.
Her.
I feel she is the key to all of this. The last piece of the puzzle I have to solve. Does she know more than she's led me to believe? Or have I let my suspicions get the better of me? It's hard for me to admit this. It's also downright stupid. But I've let myself trust her over the years we've worked together. And I have to trust her now. Sooner or later, we'll find ourselves back in that hellhole of a city. This bond I have with her will be the only thread I'll have to hold on to when things go from bad to worse. In Paper City,
People
all
talk.
bets
Let
are
him
off.
talk, damn it.
Stakes
Let him have
are
his
as high as never.
edgy detective monologue.
An empty box. Just think of the possibilities.
Big box.
The size of this box is only matched by its inability to comprehend reality. Storage space reserved for various miscellanea. I should tear them in case I need to make a rope to climb down the window.
What's that so specific? Level 6 sword.
I'll just sell this sword and buy some revives for later.
What the fuck?
Just pants, neatly folded and thrown over the closet. A book titled Half-Life 3. Oh, I bet it's fantasy.
What? Half-Life 3, excuse me. Yep.
Just some rope. I bet someone would find this extremely useful. Not me, though.
People talk, okay.
It's an accordion. Depicting colors contained by various forms and shapes. Empty sheets of paper spread across the table surface. What future awaits those sheets of paper? Will they ever become a book?
Who knows? That's the question, isn't it?
A bag of candy. I knew a girl named Candy once. Whatever happened to her? It reminds me of a cocktail recipe. Add 2-3 ice cubes. Pour some liquor over them. Mix it in your stomach. Repeat. I call it the TED.
What?
Trademarked.
Mix it in your stomach, huh?
What is this? A car for ants?
Okay, no, that's pretty funny. What is this? A car for ants? A tiny little toy car, like a Hot Wheels?
A book titled A Small Car on Top of Me. The Life of a Book.
What?
What? What sort of literature is this? A toy car, maybe.
That actually
I don't know.
is
I'm not in the car evaluation business.
pretty
Wait, now he said something else.
A toy car, maybe. I don't know. I'm not in the car evaluation business. I don't like pillows. I'm far too rugged for such comfort. It looks highly cuttable. Is that a word? Cuttable?
That lightning strike.
Is it a monkey? Roses in a field? An orange? I'm really bad at appreciating art. Someone, somewhere, put their soul and moderate effort into making this, and I hate it. Nothing a little paint thinner can't fix.
I've just been talking to myself. But these guys have been staring at me.
Well, this thing really stands out. The dictionary defines a cabinet as a body of high-ranking state officials, typically consisting of the top leaders of the executive branch, usually called ministers. There you go. That's what this is, only small. Lowlifes. I guess they are so used to police interrogations. Standing in front of bright lights is where they feel most at home. I had a feeling I'd find you two lurking around. How is it that whenever something fishy goes down, you two are peeking around the corner?
Save your monologues for the shower, Snoop. We didn't do it.
And what exactly didn't you do?
Whatever you're implying we did or didn't do.
So you did it.
It depends.
Depends on what?
If we did whatever you're hinting that we did, or for that matter didn't do, and if the answer might incriminate us to a certain degree, then as a fact, I can state that we didn't do it. See? But if not doing it, whatever it is you're implying we did or didn't do would put us in the same position as in the previous statement, considering it was true, then we certainly did do it.
This is going nowhere. If you weren't a crook, you could have had a career as a lawyer, although the two aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah? Well, if you weren't a Snoop, you could have had a career as a drunk, although the two aren't mutually exclusive, see?
Don't act smart with me, lowlife. I'll take you downtown faster than you can say I'm guilty. Now start spilling the beans, or this friendly get-together might turn out ugly for you two.
Where's Flint Ashworth?
Where is Flint Ashworth?
Beats me. He wasn't here when we arrived. Is he missing?
I have those 2 tickets.
No, I'm just asking because I have these 2 tickets for Wuthering Heights on ice.
Oh, it's just wonderful. The reviews are overwhelmingly positive.
Shut up, John. He's just pulling your leg.
So you're saying you had nothing to do with his disappearance?
Who do you take us for, Snoop? We ain't no kidnappers. The kid probably went to see his friends or something, see? Besides, he's a tough kid. I'm sure he's fine.
Sure, because kidnapping is way over the line for you two. It's one of the few things missing from your MO. Maybe you thought you should step up the game. Who put you up to it?
Whoa, as I said, we ain't no kidnappers, see? We may have a difference.
What, your brain can't handle the plot of the scheme of what's going on?
Alright, you're off the hook. For now.
Heard about the Red Man.
You two lowlifes heard anything about the Red Man?
We might have heard something. My memory's a bit fuzzy these days, see?
The Reef King? What?
Tell me what you know, and the next time the Reef King asks me about you two, I'll forget about your whereabouts.
We've sorted it out with the shark, Snoop.
Huh?
We started a nice little enterprise.
The hell is
with
a
them.
Reef
See,
King?
me and John here have a way with the tourists.
John.
The deal is to take them on a nice
The
little
Reef
tour
King
around our beautiful
is
city
another
that
guy.
ends in
He
his
said he's
gambling
probably a
house.
police officer.
There are numerous attractive locations scattered throughout the city, but sometimes you just have to go that extra mile if you want to experience it the way the locals do. For instance, there's a lovely little deli store just off of Peril Street, halfway down to the harbor. Their madeleines are to die for. Just pick a spot on their beautiful terrace and enjoy a good book.
Are you
or a
giving an
romantic
advertisement
evening
for
with
this
that
place right now?
special someone.
Yeah, see? That's right, John.
Hashtag ad,
I
hashtag
bet whatever they
sponsor.
keep in their wallets, by the end of the day, the shark sends his goons to clean them out when they leave. Am I right?
Well, yeah, but that's just his style, see?
I bet it is.
Why are you here? Why is he here?
So, why are you here exactly?
That's none of your business, Snoop.
Listen here, you lowlife. I know you operate on the west side these days. I've seen you down with your face in the mud coming out from those 24-hour carrot bars near the harbor. I know you've seen things. You two better start being useful, or else.
Oi, Copernicus, how about you take a long walk down the shore pier, see? We ain't seen nothing. We're just a couple of
We
them
ain't seen
hard-working
nothing.
individuals, see? We know our rights. We pay them taxes and such. What's a snoop like you even gonna do? You ain't a cop, see?
You got that right, pal. I ain't a cop. That just means I can throw a couple of knuckle sandwiches your way before I take you two lowlifes in. Not that anyone would care. I can just say I found you that way, or that the Reef King got to you before I did.
Maybe it's time you leave two exemplary citizens like us alone and find yourself someone else you can bother, see? I hear that crazy old coot's been chasing seagulls down at the harbor lately. Maybe he can help you, see?
CBG. Haven't seen him in a while. You're saying he knows something?
It's worth a shot, ain't it? It's not like you're getting anywhere with us. It's just that getting the information out of him might prove to be quite a task, see?
Don't worry about that. Me and him go back a long way. He'll talk to me.
You escaped the city.
Why'd you escape the city?
Who says we escaped? Me and John just came to enjoy ourselves out in the country, see? We might take up fishing or hiking. Yeah, those types of things.
That's just great news, Jimmy. I love it here. It's so relaxing.
Sure. And your escape had nothing to do with the recent activities regarding the Red Man?
What Red Man? Also, Snoop, Native American is the proper nomenclature, I do believe.
You know who I'm talking about, so stop playing dumb. Not you, big guy. I know you can't help it.
Help what? What are we talking about?
Forget it.
Okay, forget it.
I just don't get why you would protect someone that made you flee the city in the middle of the night.
Hold on there, Snoop. We're not protecting anyone. It's just that this guy, he's not your average sap, see?
Your memory's getting a bit better, eh?
Hey, we want to see this all sorted out as much as anyone. With all the folks leaving the city, it's bad for business.
Sure. I can only imagine. What do you know about him?
Not much, and the things we heard are mostly just stories. He's setting fires and whatnot down in the city. Wants to see it all burn, see? No one will stop this guy, Snoop. Not even you.
He's the reckoning this city was due for. He won't stop until everything is dust, and we lie forgotten in the sands of time.
What? What the hell are you talking about, John? Don't listen to him. He had a rough night.
Well, you two were useful as always. I have to go. When I come back, I hope, for your sake, nothing will be missing.
Besides the kid, you mean?
You trying to be funny, or you got the sudden urge to confess?
The first one, yeah. See you later, Snoop.
You better believe it. One more thing. You didn't find a key by any chance lying around the house.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was just lying on the floor.
That's what I thought. How about you hand it over to me? I'll keep it safe for you guys.
Sure thing, there you go. Now don't go telling people we never helped you. It's like we're partners now, see?
Sure.
We'll
have to find another way.
Because they're protecting it. I believe we're done in here. Can I use the sword on them?
No.
That answers that.
Storage space reserved for various miscellanea.
No. Yeah, well, you got it. Yep, that answers that, right?
It looks like a match in a small metal container. Is it? Did I get it right? It looks like a match in a small metal container.
I just repeat. Hello.
Those two clowns are in there, not being useful as always.
Did you ask them about Flint?
I did. They didn't know anything. I think they're just hiding from someone.
The Red Man?
That's my best bet, but who knows with those two?
So Flint's not in there?
No.
What should we do, Ted? We have to find him.
Well, we're not going to find him standing here. We should check other rooms. Maybe he's hiding somewhere. Mugshots gave me this key to your parents' room that they, totally just found lying on the floor.
We should start there then.
Such forward ideas. You're going to be a fine detective one day.
Thanks, Bear. You too.
Wait, I can click on the Anubis statue? What? Oh my god. I just booped it on the floor.
There's a number written underneath. 107. What does it mean?
10-7's the police code for an unconscious or a dead person.
That's a little grim.
I don't make the rules. I sure as hell don't follow them either.
10-7. 107. We gotta remember that. What? What's downstairs? I haven't tried to go downstairs at all yet. Can I even?
You use them to move up and down the house.
Fascinating stuff.
Oh no, you can't. You can only click on them. Oh, okay. To the parents' room then. The parents' room.
unlocked.
Monka W.
Hope I don't get into trouble over this. My parents' bed. It's so big and comfy. My bed is like sleeping on a pile of rocks. Well, not really. It's really soft and fluffy, but this one's better. Where else to put them but underneath the bed where you sleep? Men, am I right?
Men. Not
This
the
lamp
men.
is pretty. So tall and lean and
Men
lacy on
check.
top. It's like a supermodel lamp. It's one of my dad's cameras. It probably fell down by accident. It's plastic wrap for your clothes, for some reason. It's my parents' closet, also known as a cliched hiding spot when playing hide and seek. I'll take this film strip with me. Maybe I can develop it later.
Develop the film.
A chandelier. It's French for fancy lamp.
No. Men check. Exactly. Any men? Any men in the chat room? The chat room?
For combing your hair. I like my hair more au naturel.
You mean you don't brush it and just wear it whatever way it was when you woke up?
Yep, that's the idea. Some weird plant is sticking out of it. I feel like these should grow in a pond. I could be wrong. Some paintings depicting life in a small rural community, autumn harvest and whatnot. I feel like all of these are connected in a way, like they share a story. I feel like a painting of
Creepy
some
dude.
guy. Let's name him. Jeffrey. What do you think, Ted?
I don't, but he does look like a Jeffrey.
Dun dun dun.
I love wearing these around the house. They make me look taller. They're really uncomfortable, though.
Dog room. Why do your parents have a dog room? A hidden dog room, for that matter.
It's a decorative curtain. It's so old it was used as a tunic by Caesar's accountant.
What?
Just a bunch of stuff used to develop photos.
Did I pick that up?
Are you even?
Don't yell at me.
It's where the water comes from, through the miracle of modern magic. It has measuring units on the side. Not that I would know anything about that. I'm 10 after all. Used to develop photos of you going to visit your boring old relatives that one summer when you had nothing else to do. Guess this room isn't so dark after all. Used for measuring, liquids?
Why is that safe? Is this where the code is? 10-7? Elite hacker mans. I'm in.
There we go. It was the number from the statue. Not a police code for anything, Mr. I don't follow no rules. Hey, these are the liquids for developing pictures. I'll take them with me.
Let's develop these photos.
There. We just need the empty photo thingy to put it in. I don't think so. Nothing happened. There's something missing. Are you even trying?
Oh god. Had to sneeze. Wait, what are we missing?
Nothing to see here. Move along now, Amber. Yes, sir. An undeveloped roll of film. Not much else to say. For storing preserves and other stuff. Seems like it's empty. You can pour something in it, like water or fire.
Fire in a canister. Big ass bottles. Wait, spell.
Big ass bottles. Just a bunch of bottles. 2 to be exact.
Censored.
Nothing interesting about them. Big ass bottles. Big ass. Just a bunch of.
This I don't think it's this thing that I need. Was it?
Nothing happened.
Ah, there you go.
There. Is it over? Is that it?
Looks the same to me.
Some detective you are. Obviously something happened. We need to use the developing liquids now, and then we get the photo.
I want to pick up that tape too. Monk. Red man.
Oh my god, Ted. That's him. That's the red man. He's in my house.
Okay, calm down. That could be anyone.
Oh, no, it's him. He's in my house and he did something to Flint. I have to find Mom and Dad.
Wait, don't be so rash. There's probably an explanation for this. Don't get your parents involved, doll.
Me.
They're having a hard time as it is. This could be just a prank, as I'm saying. We should get back to Million.
Yeah, you're right.
He was in the house all
I have
along.
to wait, though. The room is locked by a mechanism connected to that machine over there, and it will unlock in a couple of minutes. My dad made it like this so no one would barge in and light up the room when he's developing photos.
Alright, so we wait.
He was in the house all
How have you been
along.
lately?
The Red Man. He's in the East Hallway. Wait, I'm the Red Man? We were the Red Man all along. We're the Red Man. Us. What have we become? The Red Man. Do I need to go to the giraffe lady? Oh, he's staring right into the camera. Monka shake. Monka shake shake. I never clicked on the attic, huh? Murder. Sweet, sweet murder. Attack! Oh no! I have to commit murder. Oh. I can leave? Be a nice Red Man? I can kill the old giraffe lady. I don't want to kill her. She's so nice. Can we just leave? Stairs. Yeah. Cold blood. The dead, emotionless stare. Just casually poking you with a knife. No, I won't wanna. I don't wanna kill the poor innocent old giraffe. I'm out of here. Jump through the window. Oh, wait, is he burning down the house instead? Oh, wait, that's even... that's even worse. He jumped through the window and lit the house on fire. That's even worse than not just stabbing her. Oh my god. Whoops.
I'll take this tape with me. I can use it to tape Ted to a flagpole.
You have to return it this time. Oh, the version you just got now? The Vanguard you just got now? Dead people are evil. I should have done it. Because it sounds like there's fire now. Sounds like we burned down the entire building instead of just peacefully leaving. If only we didn't have to shut this guy down. Then Rust would have seen him. He would have seen the Red Man. What? Didn't I click this? You go over there. Go down the hallway.
A door that leads to the attic. No, really, that's all there is to it. It leads to the attic, hence the name, the attic door.
Saints. Money loss.
That's just...
It's just weird.
That wasn't always there, was it?
Weird.
Please don't be dead, old giraffe lady. Okay, no, she's fine.
Millie, are you okay? We heard a scream.
Oh, thank goodness you're here. It was him, the Red Man. You just missed him.
We found a photo. He's in my house, Millie.
You just missed him. He must have heard you two coming, 'cause he jumped out the window seconds before you came in. I can't imagine what would have happened if you hadn't shown up.
It's okay, Millie. We're here now. you're safe.
We should get moving. Is there any entrance to the city we can use at the moment?
There's one in the attic. Maybe we can use that one.
Yeah, good idea. Let's head out.
What about Millie? Are we gonna leave her alone? What if the red man shows up?
She'll be fine. Millie's a tough broad. She'll probably whack the hell out of him until he's had enough and surrenders to local authority.
Millie, are you gonna be fine on your own?
Don't worry about me, little miss. I'll go and find some place to hide. You two better be careful out there.
He dropped something. Nail.
I'll just take the nail with me. The uses for it are practically endless.
I have the picture of him. The red man.
Come on. It's just a window. Don't let this crippling amnesia get to you.
Don't even have anything to say about it being opened. How are we gonna get to the attic?
A door that... No, really.
Use the level 6 sword.
I can't use that.
Can we go back into those guys? So I guess there was no fire. Sounded like there was a fire though. I guess it's just the rain outside. Rangers list? Wait, what is that? Why does that sound so familiar?
No.
No? Yeah. The Holocaust movie? Oh. Maybe I saw that in school or something. Maybe they showed that in school. Maybe that's why it sounds familiar.
A wise man once said, the windows are the eyes of a house. A book title. A toy car, maybe.
No, he's not gonna say the ant thing again.
Any leads on the missing kid yet?
That's classified. You two remembered something.
Nothing useful, probably. I remember my first job. I got a job helping out at the local library after school. I was never much of a bookworm, but I would just sit there among the books and smell the air, see? That old book smell still lingers to this day. I would sit there on a banister way past the end of my shift, admiring all the people there, the scholars, the academics. I guess they were a reminder of all the things I could be someday, see? Then they had to lock up and the janitors would come and just toss me out back into a
What the
dumpster.
fuck? Guy's telling me his old life story. That doesn't sound familiar though. What you just described, but I don't know, the name just for some reason it sounds very familiar to me. Interesting.
A lamp. No, that's not right.
What?
It's a lamp. L-A-M-P.
A lamap. Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar either. It's just, for some reason, the name. For some reason, it's just the name.
My grandpa's books. I know you're... My grandpa... I know you...
Wait, can you leave? Can we get out of here, please? Hey. How the hell are we gonna get into the attic? I don't have anything that could reach up there.
It's only this... It's...
That's what the mayor was hiding the whole time. Yeah, it's almost pretty much almost the same in Danish. Doesn't really help that much.
I can't use.
What the hell would we need a nail? Duct tape the photo.
I can't.
Knife the photo.
Do what?
Oh wait, yeah, wasn't there something with this?
It's locked.
This is locked. How the hell?
I can't use.
Can I use any of the? I don't think I use any of these new items on that. The level 3 sword.
Do what with?
Can I really not combine this?
Do what with it? I can't use.
No, that's
That
what the
actually
nail was
worked?
for.
You just unlocked something with an old rusty nail?
Yeah.
How convenient is that?
Agent 47
It's just
style.
Easy writing.
Don't be such a negative Nancy, Snoop. Of course it worked. My genius knows no bounds.
That's just lazy writing. Here we
Hey, I
go.
got the hook thingy. I bet this will be super useful, like really soon. An old clock. My grandfather bought this.
Can now
Or
carry more
wanted
stuff.
a duel at dawn. Can't really
Damn
remember.
right.
It's a beautiful
No, I
clock,
don't have
though.
the bucked out rusty nail in my inventory. Pick up my banana.
Come on.
There is no way that you can reach this, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, you
I can't.
find it with with the sword.
I can't use. This won't work. It usually takes 2 or more of these. I don't think.
We just need something long now to reach up there, like a stick. Before going outside. Otherwise, you're gonna be more shaking. Shaking like crazy. You go over here. Can't click on this, right? No. The drawers. Watch out for the. Fuck, I'm dead. They got me.
I'm not going through trash. It's just my work ethic.
Clean the trash.
I don't think so.
Look for it with the level 6 sword.
I don't think.
I feel like that's not even useful for anything. That's just the sword is just there as a joke. I feel like.
No, but nice try, Mom. A door. No, really. That's all there is to it.
Oh my god, when's Monkey Island? I had a feeling you were gonna ask that. I don't know. Probably not anytime soon. Probably not anytime soon. Because that's not really like a... As far as I know, it's not really a detective game unlike this. And that other one we played a few weeks ago. Oh, is it high heels?
I bet they make fun of short heels all the time.
New ones on Galley Pass, that is true, but nah, they don't really interest me that much, the Monkey Island games. They don't really interest me that much.
It's for sitting down. Like, way down.
Yeah, that I'm more interested in, yeah. Sam and Max, that I am a bit more interested into.
Big ass bottles. Step right up, folks. Witness the amazing bottle twins.
I don't think I missed anything in here, did I?
Guess this.
I already clicked on that. Telltale games. Oh yeah, there's Telltale's Sam and Max games. That's true.
A book titled Developing for Dummies. I guess developers are dummies. This book
Ch-
is a good investment.
None of this makes any sense. It's just all of these things in my inventory. What the hell are we gonna use duct tape on? You can't just fall asleep and let the game play itself. Unlike new Telltale games. Oh my god. It's Dogger's tape, exactly.
My mom uses the same one to wash Ted in.
What? That's not true. I have a shower in my office.
Oh, you do you?
Oh yeah, maybe wait, is something in his office maybe? Yeah. Yeah, that's a real brand where they actually call it duct tape. Like, yeah, as in a Dockers. How funny. Perfect name. It fits well. Oh, is it the clock
It's
thing?
not working, but that's okay. I can't tell the time anyways.
I need. Nah, wait.
Do what with it? Come on.
No. Alright, let's check his office really quick. They invent duct tape.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
I can't use that.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, I guess it's not in his office. Does this have something new?
Be careful, you two.
Thanks, Millie.
It's not working.
Haven't used this for anything either.
Come on.
Wait.
Come on.
No?
Do what?
I don't have to get that. This would be like the perfect thing to use
Come on.
as a stick. They said we had to go to the attic. Wait, hold on. Let me just make sure I didn't, like...
I can't use that.
You can. What else would you use this for?
I don't think.
I think it's just because it can't reach.
Come on. belonged to my grandpa. I don't think it works, but it sure is loud. Wait.
No, don't.
Wait.
I mean, I click on it again. Hmm. Well, yeah. I am confident this hook thing is definitely for the attic. The duct tape, I really don't know where we would use duct tape. Wait, do you have to go? You have to go put these two guys in duct tape? Oh my fucking Jesus! Thanks for the input. Thanks for the input, Duck.
No.
Oh, really? That would've been funny.
No.
GTA's on its way, Pog. Hopefully it's the right version that arrives. Oh, yeah, they do carry out. Oh, that's fucking nice. That way you don't have to start over or anything. That way you just have to get the achievements on one thing. So deleted for the Ayaya version. Ayaya. However, there is this thing.
No. No.
Wait, can I give them the level 3 sword?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Well, this thing really...
Trevor's Boston's. How'd they censor that? Is actually like pixelated or blurred out?
Just some rope. Not me.
Ah, he just doesn't drop his pants at all. Okay.
It looks like a mat.
That's an easy way to... Yeah. Censor it?
A bag of candy. An empty glass. It looks highly cuttable. Is that a word? Cuttable? No. No.
It looks high. Oh, with the knife? There we go. Wait, that must look really strange. So that's the animation, but yeah, he doesn't drop his pants. Oh, well, that was easy to get this.
I'll take it with me. Maybe Millie can tell me something more about it.
He's... Okay, well, that works. They didn't even get mad about that? Oh, I see. Yeah, they basically call all the monka. All the extreme stuff. Now they just smoke together. Oh. But she's smoking. Banned.
Millie, we found this piece of red cloth in Flint's room. We thought you could tell us something more about it.
Is Flint the red man?
I'm afraid I don't recognize this particular fabric. But by the feel of it, it feels like a firefighter's uniform. I'm sorry, but that's as much as I can tell.
A firefighter's uniform? This is getting stranger by the minute. What do you make of this doll?
I honestly don't know, Ted. I'm a bit shaken up at the moment. I have to go find Mom and Dad. Whoever this red man is, he's done something to Flint.
Please don't get your parents involved again. I suggest we head out to Paper City and see what we can dig up on this guy. We can go down to the docks and talk to CBG. He's bound to know something.
That didn't help much, did it? Now I just have a piece of red
Be
cloth.
careful.
I can't use.
The hell am I gonna do with a red piece of cloth?
I don't think. I can't. Are you even?
What in the hell am I gonna do with a red piece of cloth? Wait, I didn't mishear it, right? They said we had to go through the attic, I'm pretty sure.
Come on.
What am I doing with a red piece of cloth? I don't think that's for now. I'm pretty sure we gotta save that for the guy in the pier, but how the fuck do we get out of here? Do I go back in Flint's room and ask them about the red cloth, I guess? I don't know. Flip shot, I guess. You can still have English voices. English voices but with IAS subtitles. The other way around.
No.
Really?
Any leads on the missing kid yet?
That's classified. You two remembered something?
Nothing. I remember. I was never. That old. I would say. I guess they. Then they had.
No. It's got drawers. I guess the logical thing to do here would be to search the drawers for clues, but I'm not going to do that. I have my reasons.
Really? That always only had English voices? Okay. So it's only the... So you can only have IAS subtitles. That's still nice. Still nice, though.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
The size of this box is only... storage. Just pants.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That didn't really help that much. Getting that red cloth and that. Got a little bit extra dialogue, but that didn't really help too much.
A book titled "It's a What So."
Wait, there's a key right
We'll have
here.
to find another way.
What? How did I miss that key?
Are you even? There's a small key up there. It looks lonely.
I guess you could say. It's just hanging around.
What the fuck? That sound effect game. Ah, that was great. I guess you could say. Just hanging around. And he puts on his shades. Yeah. Ah, dude, this game's fucking amazing.
We'll have to find another.
Oh, that was great. Can I not use this here?
Are you even?
Really? Easy puts on shades. Like a fucking badass.
Do what?
How can you not reach that?
I can't.
Have to move the chair?
This chair is so comfortable, but we don't have time to sit around. Well, Ted will probably need to at some point. He's getting old.
Huh? Ah, I wasn't listening. You just ramble on and on sometimes.
I
You
need a
didn't hear me
stick
because you're old.
for like 2 different things. To reach the attic and get that key.
Lex Inni
We
Bunny, although
already read that.
highly breakable. Believe me, I know. Nothing interesting about it.
Really?
Are you
I guess.
even? Only for looking, not for touching, according to my mom. It looks expensive. It looks
Then now she's just gonna read the thing again.
There's a number written underneath. 107. What does it mean?
10-7's the police code for an unconscious or a dead.
That's
I don't make.
Oh my god, you fucking clipped it. Thank you. Thank you, Boxy. Appreciate it. That's one good clip there, I can already tell. That was so fucking good. That was so fucking good with him putting on the shades and the fucking sound effect. Man, this game's a fucking masterpiece. I guess you could say the goat is clipped. Yeah. Oh my god. Should add that as a sound effect to the stream. Yeah. Ah, that was way too fucking good. Exactly. So then Gilbert Beale. Hell yeah. That's that goat shaven. So then Gilbert Beale. Well, I guess we'll go back in the parents' room. See if I missed anything. Since I apparently missed that key in here. Can we leave? What the fuck, man? So I need something. I need something to reach the key. What do you even need the key for? Not even anything that's locked. Yeah, what do we even need the key for? The thing that's locked is Clinton's bedroom, but I mean, you can already access that.
I'm not allowed to use lipstick till I'm a bit older, according to my mom. It's highly inedible, though. Are you eating?
I am. I'm doing my very
Come
best.
on.
No, I don't. I didn't mean to come down. Is it the tie? Nah, I don't think you can even interact with the tie. Just interact with the plastic bag. Plastic bag.
Seems like it's empty. You can pour something. Just some canisters filled with some unidentified liquids.
The usual.
Going through trash is not on my to-do list. Maybe if my schedule opens up later in the day. Used to pinch things.
Alright, we still need to have that red cloth.
An undeveloped.
We should get back to Million.
What? Wait, I think he only does that when I'm in this room, doesn't he? Can I do it now again?
We should get back to Millie.
What? Really? But we already did that, huh? We already did that. And you just says, be careful, you two. Maybe I should try to interact with him when we're in the room here. If I can.
Be careful.
I can't use that.
What about the level 6 sword?
Come on.
Okay, hold on. Alright, let's see. Can I interact with him in here? Can.
Look out for anything out of place, doll.
It's where I rest. This is my bed.
Anything out of place? So you mean I missed something in here?
Are you?
I picked up the key he dropped on the ground, and then, I mean, there was the obvious open window, but she didn't want to... Oh, wait, the lamp? Wait, I think the lamp was tilted.
A miracle of modern
Maybe it always was that.
cornflakes. They've gotten cold. An extensive collection. It's all about the bird. My collection of paintings. Mom said I could have. It's not working, but that's okay. It's just a window.
But it's open now. Oh, this tiny piece of wood here? Oh my god. I thought that was the curtain. There you go.
I'll take it with me. With some proper crafting, it can be used to access things out of my reach.
Jesus, here we go.
This won't work. It usually takes 2 or more of these.
Oh, maybe not yet. Maybe I need to go use this on the key first.
This won't hold on its own.
Oh, no, here we go, here we go.
There. Now I can have
Finally, we got a long stick to reach the attic. Well, let's go. Let's go get the key first, because we're going to need that for the attic like, or something later on. Cornflakes. Don't taste shit on purpose. Cornflakes. Good old classic cornflakes. There we go.
I'll take this key with
Good
me
time,
just
sorry.
in case. It's always good to have keys around.
So what is this? Just a key? Office desk key. Office desk key?
I can't use.
Is this an office? No, this is a study. Here we go, here we go. Finally, we can get in the attic. Use the force with the help of the stick.
Millie, Rust, and the mugshots all escaped through the east tunnel. It's closed off now. We've heard from several sources now that the police commissioner had ordered a lockdown. I was starting to wonder, was it to keep everyone at bay till they catch the person responsible? Or was it to maybe keep someone out? It's too big of a coincidence that all of this started to happen at the same time I left the city, and now I find myself unable to return. I've come across the Mugshot brothers, but as expected, they were uncooperative. Wise guys. Reasoning with them is a fruitless effort. However, the little information I got from them could be useful later. They seem nervous. I mean, more than usual. We found some clues around the house that could help us find Flint, but so far, everything is leading nowhere. I've examined the evidence myself, but can't connect the dots yet. It seems appropriate that the last case in my career would be like this. Everyone knows the story. The detective only has a couple of days till retirement, but then the lady in distress shows up and begs him to help her out. He decides, against all reason, to do this one last thing, but the case proves to be his hardest yet. Somewhere down the line, the detective gets shot. Fade to black. We had a run-in with the main suspect, the man in the red hood. He gave Millie quite a scare. Who knows what would have happened if we had gotten there just a little late. It was getting more obvious now. He's the one responsible for Flint's disappearance. We had to table all of our options, and we decided to go back to Paper City. I have an informant there that could know some things, and that's our best bet at the moment. Red, it seems, wants to get to Amber, so I figured I'd draw him out. Best place to do that is the city. I need to level the field, coordinate with the police, and to set a trap. After we get him cornered, I'll make him talk, and we'll find out what happened to Flint. Let's just hope it's not too late.
The red bad. Ba, 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 ba.
It's locked.
This is where I use the key. Easy money.
The key fits. Let's see what we have in here. Vial of ink. It's a vial of ink. Boy, this desk must be really old. Who uses ink anymore? I'll take the ink with me. If we wake up in 1789 tomorrow, I'll be all set.
Point. That's a candle. That's a candle. Oh.
I'll take it with me just in case. Maybe I'll need to read in the dark at some point or something.
We're just picking up everything at this point, aren't we?
It acts as the last line of defense between the housemates and the harsh environment outside. It's filled with towels, I think, or sheets or something. It's filled with the kind of stuff no one ever uses, but is too important for some reason to be thrown away.
Nice city limits. Horsey.
Are you hungry, Horsey? Ted, do we have a wooden carrot for him? Just some random attic stuff you'd usually find in an attic. There we have an old bean can. Is it empty? Full? Who knows? The mystery is part of the fun. Then there's some bag of something. Flour, maybe? A bunch of boxes filled with ugly clothes? Just there, then there. Poor thing, I bet he feels so alone up here. Good evening, officer.
Oh my god, Miss Ashworth, is that really you? I must say, I've only seen you in the papers, but you look even better in person.
Stop, you're going to make me blush. Oops, too late. No, but seriously, officer.
Burke, Miss Ashworth, but you can call me Brian.
Okay, Brian, we need to enter the city. You see, we're working on this case and we need to find a friend of ours. He might know some things.
I'm terribly sorry, Miss Ashworth. I'm afraid no one is allowed to enter the city at this point. Not even a beloved and well-known celebrity such as yourself. I'm so sorry.
Punch him.
Well,
so sorry.
That's okay.
So sorry.
Aren't you a bit young to be a policeman?
A police officer, actually. I'm fresh out of the academy, but I'm planning to make detective in a couple of years.
Well, that's ambitious.
Is that a fake mustache?
No.
Damn.
It is. It just fell on the floor.
Well, this is embarrassing. I'm sorry. Everyone at the station has a mustache these days, and I just can't seem to grow one myself. My fiance even makes fun of me sometimes.
Well, I think you look just dashing without a mustache. It makes you look younger.
Well, thank you kindly, miss.
That's a tough deal, kid. You'll have a hard time becoming a detective if you don't have a mustache.
But you don't have one, Mr. Bear.
I'm a private snoop, Jimmy. I don't need to fit in. I walk my beat alone.
Oh my god.
Can't you make an exception?
Can't you make an exception to let us pass? Just this once.
Mr. Bear, as much as I admire both you and Miss Amber, seriously, I'm a huge fan, but orders are still orders. Things are getting really bad down in the city. If anything were to happen to Miss Amber, I could never forgive myself.
Dave, who ordered this lockdown?
The state officials. Mayor Mills himself signed the decree. I'm afraid without the mayor's signature, no one is allowed to enter or leave the city at the moment. And it's Brian, sir.
And how come the city is on lockdown anyways?
I'm afraid I'm not in a position to discuss such matters, Mr. Bear. Terribly sorry.
Oh my god, that was perfectly timed. Mr. Bear! And then the lightning strike. You know anything about the Red Man?
Stevie, you know anything about the Red Man?
I'm sorry, Mr. Bear. I really can't discuss such matters. I will tell you one thing, though. The word on the street is that the suspect, codename Red, is asking a lot of questions about Miss Ashworth.
What kind of questions? What's so interesting about Amber anyways?
Hey.
Don't worry, Miss Ashworth. You're the most interesting person I know. If I was a crazy lunatic with an agenda, I'd stalk you too.
Aw, that's so cute. Thank you, Brian.
Oh no, now I'm
What
blushing.
the hell?
I just have to interrupt, whatever this is. Jerry, what kind of information is Red after?
It's Brian, sir, and I'm afraid I don't really know much about the subject. Only what I hear from the fellow police officers here and there. Besides, I'm not in a position
to discuss such matters. Yeah, I know.
Have you seen Flint?
You haven't seen Flint Ashworth by any chance?
Miss Ashworth's brother?
That's right. Have you seen him?
I'm sorry, Mr. Bear. I'm confused.
That's understandable, son. You're a Paper City police officer. Never mind that now.
Got the vibes, this cop. Good or bad vibes? How do we enter the city?
So, what is it we need to do in order to enter the city?
Well, I suppose you would have to get clearance.
Good.
Signed by
Yeah,
Mayor
he's
Mills
good.
himself.
And
He's
just
not
sign
being
the
shady.
clearance, no questions asked.
Normally, no.
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna
think so.
say.
But since you're in the company
seems
of
like a
the
nice,
beautiful and
trustworthy
talented
cop.
Miss Amber, I'm sure the mayor will make an exception.
I'll have to get the mayor on the phone to sort this thing out.
You think he'll let us enter the city?
I really don't know, but that drunk owes me a couple of favors. It's time to call him up on it. To the Batcave.
What? Excuse me? Can you say that? The Batcave.
Mayor's office.
Hello there, doll. This is Teddy Bear. You may know me from such
Teddy
cases as sitting in the
Bear.
mayor's ass on
Oh
several
my
occasions.
God.
I've also set you up with a buddy of mine that one time.
Of course, Mr. Bear. I know who you are. Are you looking to speak with the mayor, Mr. Bear? Because I'm afraid he's not in at the moment. Can I take a message?
No, I have to talk to the mayor personally. It's important. When will the mayor be back?
The mayor should be in first thing in the morning, Mr. Bear.
Okay, never mind. Thanks anyway, doll. He's not in, and we don't have time to sit around and wait till he sobers up. We'll have to find another way.
Hey, what if we made the clearance ourselves?
That's falsifying government papers, doll. I like it. There should be some stationery around here. Give me a minute. Have a drink while you wait.
A drink of what? Make-believe water?
Carrot
Never
juice.
mind. Here it is.
I can't read that. Any of it is barely not readable.
Now we just need something to use as a stamp, and we need to falsify the signature. You're an artist of sorts. You can do this, right?
Not really. I could probably make a stamp out of something, but I can't falsify the signature.
Fine. I'll get those two goons to do it.
The mugshots? You think they'll help you?
Don't worry. My right knuckle can be very persuasive.
Well, I got the ink. Need a stamp, right?
Be careful, you
Oh
two.
my god. Well, let's go get this. Wait, actually, do you have anything to write with? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what happens if we go to them. There we go. We don't have a pen, but
I need your help.
maybe he'll
Low
use his
Lights.
own.
I've got this fake clearance to enter the city, and I need you to falsify the mayor's signature.
And what makes you think we're the right guys for this? Do we look like counterfeiters to you?
Yeah, you sure do. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Nice options. Yeah, you sure do. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do this.
yeah.
But again, what's in it for us?
Can't you just do it out of common courtesy? Can't you do it for the kids? Better do it if you want to play the Clarion again. Clarion. Can't you do it for the kids?
Can't you do it for the kids? Think of the children, for God's sake.
What kids?
You know, just some kids. I don't know. It's an expression. Would you do it for Amber?
I would do it for Miss, but something tells me you're just dropping names to get us to agree.
She's with me, and she needs your help.
Oh yeah? She sure lost a lot of weight, or you finally lost your mind, 'cause I can't see ya.
She's in the other room. She couldn't squeeze through.
I'll cut you a deal, Snoop. You bring me proof that little Miss is with you, and I'll falsify this report card of yours.
You mean the clearance?
What? Yeah, the clearance.
I'll be back.
Sure thing, Arnold.
What the fuck?
You got it?
No.
Nice.
I don't have anything to write with. You have your pencils with you?
Here you go, but be sure to get them back.
What the fuck?
I'll be right back.
That was a good one. Jumping Arnold. Nice. Arnold approves. What is this? This game's fucking good, man.
There. Does this qualify as proof to you? Now, show some integrity for once in your life and do this thing.
Whoa there! Are these the creator's tools? Where did a Snoop like you get these?
The Muffin Man gave them to me. So got it, look, started a bunch of these. I made myself Muffin Man. Okay, lovely. The Muffin Man gave them to me.
The Muffin Man gave them to me.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man. Amber gave them to me, obviously. They have her initials and everything.
All right there, Snoop. Don't get all riled up. Show me that land deal you want falsified.
You mean the clearance?
What? Yeah, sure, the clearance. There. Now, if you don't mind, me and John have some business to attend to. So, how about you hit the old dusty trail?
That's your thing, Arnold.
There. All sorted out.
You didn't hurt them, did you?
I sure did. Lowlifes like that only understand one kind of language.
Oh no, Ted. Why are you always so mean to them?
What? No. It's expected with those two. Never mind that now. I got it sorted. Let's head back to that cop boyfriend of yours.
Wait, that's it? No, what? We didn't even have to use the ink? Anything? See if this is enough. Did we get the stamp too? We haven't gotten the stamp, have we? Well, I guess we're about to find out.
Come on.
What?
Are you even trying?
What? You said go up here.
Are you even... Are you...
Maybe I just talked to him.
Good evening, Miss Ashworth, Mr. Ted. Got that clearance yet?
Is he making fun of us? I can't tell.
Not yet. We're working on it, Brian.
We should... I am missing the stamp or something. What's going on here? You're gonna tell me what I'm missing?
I can't use... Are you even... Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
What the hell? How to get out of here? Wait, so I do. I do still need the stamp. I got the signature, but I still need the stamp. Hold on. I want to click on them.
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
But I just did. Wait, maybe he. What is he gonna say if I go up here again then?
We should get the clearance.
Signed clearance.
Do what with it?
What? Hello?
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
Are you... Do what with... I don't think so.
What?
Are you... I don't...
What's going on? Oh, okay. I hold down X, it does that.
Are you even... Come on. Or...
I'm a bit confused.
Good evening, Miss Ashworth, Mr. Ted.
Is he making fun of us?
Not... I can't use that.
Huh? I am quite confused. What does it want from me?
Are you even... Do what with...
Did I do something out of order or something?
The convertible of desks. Very chic. I can't use...
What? We get jabasted by those two guys? Hello? Why is it not working? Why is the clearance not working?
No. 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 No.
What the hell am I gonna use that candle for?
Empty sheets of paper spread across. Will they ever...
What? I'm very confused.
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
But yeah, you won't. The game won't allow me to give it to him.
I'm not allowed to use. I'm not.
What? Hey, you sure there ain't nothing in here that we need right now? What the fuck? What am I missing? He said, get the signature and the stamp. So... Oh, we got the stamp. Oh, sorry. We got the signature. So what? We just need the stamp now? That's so weird, though, that he keeps saying, oh, we should get the clearance to that body cop of yours.
I don't think so. The tools I used to.
It's stamped now. Lick. Lick.
Come on.
Nice lick. Stamp.
I can't use. Are you? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Wait, do I have to use the ink on those blank papers in the other room? Ugh, well, then we gotta go back.
Come on.
That inventory. Is it another, like, really tiny thing that I'm missing again somewhere? Ugh. Let me try and go back in that room where those two guys are. And try to dump the ink on the blank papers. If that does anything.
Come on.
I'm very confused. I might need help because I'm scared the game might be bugged or soft locked. Doesn't do anything.
No.
Nope, nope, nope.
No.
I can't click on him when he's alone. What did these guys have to say?
If you don't mind, me and...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit confused. Because he keeps saying we should get the thing to him. Keeps saying I should bring this. Signed clearance.
I can't.
To the cop, but when I do that, well, it just won't allow me. Bathroom? What would that be in the bathroom? Other than...
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Other than that.
Nah, I'm. No. I'm not. I can't.
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
You get that clearance for that cop of
We
yours.
should get clearance to that cop of yours.
We should get the clearance.
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
That means we should deliver it to him, right? You should bring it to him, but you won't let me give it to him. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with all these items?
I don't. Are you?
When I do this, she doesn't even say anything.
Come on.
Now she did.
Come on.
What if I do it the other way?
I don't think. Do what?
I don't think it matters if you whichever one you do first.
I can't use.
She just sometimes doesn't say anything.
Do what?
Oh, she's not saying anything when I do that. How is that?
Come on.
Nah, she finally said something. I don't know. Ep.
Do what?
Requesting backup. Ep.
Do what with it?
What do you mean? Do what with it? Give it to the man. Or the dog. Whatever he uses.
Do what with it?
It's okay. It's okay, chat room. You can tell me. I'm okay. It's okay. You can tell me what I'm missing here. Because I have honestly lust here. And I'm pretty tired too, so. Tell me what the hell it is that I am missing here. Like, yeah, we got those two guys to sign this thing for us, and then... Now what?
Do what with it? Do what with it? I can't use.
From what the bear says, I'm supposed to give it to this guy, but... Game just says no.
Do what with it?
Arr. She's a pirate now.
Are you?
I don't know. Any bear with me experts in the chat room?
The convertible of.
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
You give it to him.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, the controller died. Right, that's true. Wait, but... Yeah, does anyone know? Does anyone know what I'm missing here? I can say it. It's okay. Hydrate while we're here, man. It's low, but it's charging. What do you mean, console?
Do what with it? Do what with it?
How is none of this combinable?
I don't think. Come on.
Maybe we have to burn the candle
think
or
so.
something. But why would we burn the candle? Was there something in the dark room that we could use to I can heat something up? Yeah, is there like a heat source anywhere? Yeah, maybe that's what we need. Like maybe we need to burn the candle. But where is there like a heat source? I don't think there is. Yeah, because maybe you need to like burn the candle and
Do what with?
then use the remains of the candle, like with the candle as the stamp or something. But I don't think there is anything
Come on.
in here to any sort of heat.
Guess this room.
Right. Well, while I'm here, what about the lipstick on the table here?
Are you even?
Nope.
Are you even? I can't use that. Neatly folded in half and thrown over the bed. My parents, well, where else to put them? And this lamp it's like.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What small little item am I missing? Gotta be that. Either that or the game soft locked. Because he keeps telling me to bring it to him.
It's a treat, only that it's creepy.
I'm not going back into those two guys right now. Let's see. Did we miss anything in the study?
Do what? Come on. Do what? Let's take this bad boy.
I don't see what that would do right now, but maybe I can reach the clock in my room. Wait, oh, maybe you have to untie this? That long stick that we got now?
Are you even?
Mr. Bear. You still saying the same thing?
We should get the clear.
Be careful.
Are you even?
Do you have anything to say about all this?
Do what? I can't.
No shit, you still
I don't think.
very tired. And we will probably end it soon, wrap it up. We're just kind of stuck right now, though. I don't know what to do.
Are you?
Yeah, we'll probably end soon, even if I can't make progress here, and then just continue tomorrow. Cause yeah, I have this clearance here that, well,
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
that's what he says.
We should get.
And the cop is up here, so let's go give it to him, right? No, you're stuck, pot friend. Exactly, I need pot friend's help. I need someone to help me out here. I need a bad with me expert in the chat room right now to help me. Yeah, but like, so the bear says
We should get the clearance to that cop of yours.
right, which is him right here, and this is the clearance right here. So I try to give it to him.
I can't use that.
Then she just says that, like, what, huh? I do not understand.
Do what with it?
It's that emote again. Oh, with the two pot friends together? It is pot champ. I don't have it enabled here though. That's in boss's stream.
Do what?
I do not understand. I'm about to look this up. I'm about to look this up, how you solve this, because what I don't understand. Really don't.
Good evening, Miss Ashworth, Mr. Ted. Got that clearance yet?
Yes.
Is he making fun of us? I can't tell.
Not yet. We're working on it.
I
Brian.
have it. I have it. I have it right here.
Do what with
But
it?
Hold on, let me see here. I'm what? Oh my god. Wait, that's what you have to do? You have to use the fucking pocket knife on the candle?
There. Now I got a stamp. All I need
And
now
that gives
is
you a
ink.
stamp? Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Are you even?
Shut up.
I can't use that. I can't use.
Let me ink the paper so I can use the stamp.
Do what with it?
Oh my god.
Are you even
Wait,
trying?
what? Wait, that's what I have to do. I have to put ink on the stamp, but it won't let me.
Messy.
Finally,
Hopefully I won't
Jesus,
get
why
it
does
all
it have to
over
be
my
so
pockets.
specific sometimes? Holy shit.
All done.
Level up? What? And this fucking clearance this guy.
Here you go, Mike. Signed by Jim, Mayor Mills himself.
Yes, here it is, and it's like totally real and not at all fake.
Well, everything seems to check out. Wait a minute. And enjoy the scenery, Miss Amber, Mr. Ted. It's a beautiful view of the city from here. Have a nice night.
You too, Brian.
How I would not afford to use the fucking knife on the candle. What the hell, man?
thing is so creepy. I bet it comes alive at night and drags itself around the floor. It slowly advances towards the exit until the day it comes down and strangles us in our sleep in a true Silent Hill manner.
Silent Hill?
And
Boss
again,
champ?
a box filled with who knows what. Nothing interesting about these boxes, believe me.
Who are you talking to?
No one? Why?
Basically, without looking stuff up online. Hey, that's easy. Only had to do it now because it's 5 in the morning and I'm really tired. It's been a long day. And I just want to get that done before we wrap it up for tonight. It's driving me insane. Because I at this state, I would not afford to use that knife and that candle. I'm banned from doing it. You got it. You got it, boss.
Alright, I guess we're going back there.
Peace.
You ready, Ted?
Give me a minute. I thought I left that place for good, you know. What about you? You haven't been there in some time, doll.
Yeah, I think so. Besides, we have a case to solve.
You're right. Let's go.
That you see, that was the end of the episode 2. It's perfect. Someone get that done, man. Holy shit! You get stuck at that last bit for so long.
It feels like going home.
God damn it. It really does.
Ted, I never asked you. What happened to your former partner?
He grew up.
Aww. Jesus Christ, what a fucking mess that was, trying to get that stamp thing. Bear with me. End of episode 1. Holy fuck, man. Well, you see, I'm glad we got that done before we fucking said goodnight tonight. That way we can do episode 2 and 3 tomorrow. The last 2. Really good game though. I'm really fucking loving this so far. That was it. You missed it. I don't know if you saw it, Junior, but that was even an Arnold reference. Not too long ago in the game. In this chapter. Or episode. Holy shit, man. Thank you, hon. Yep, there you go. We'll do episode 2 and 3 tomorrow, as long as you don't get stuck.